And what kind of a certification are you pursuing?
I did a health informatics foundational course by Dr. Shirin ma'am itself.
Okay, nice.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anila. Anandita, I think you came online. If you're there, could you please? Yeah. We can't hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, now you're audible.
Yeah. Actually, I'm unable to switch on the camera right now, but I'm a BDS student studying in Manipal College of Dental Science. I'm in my final year, and I wanted to shift to health informatics. So I wanted to know some information about that.
Okay. Okay, great.
Thank you,
Uh,
Nidra.
then we have Anirudh.
Mm, Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anirudh. I'm an biotechnologist. I'm a biotech graduate. Currently working as a clinical data analyst in Vasta Bioinformatics, and looking forward for the to grow career in health informatics as well.
Okay. Okay, that's
Right.
great. Dheeraj. Dheeraj Nayak. Are you there? No. Okay. Then we have Dr. Nidhi.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done my BDS in 2012. So I have like 7, 8 years of clinical experience. But I have taken a break for about 2, 3 years for pregnancy and baby care. So I just want to explore something new. Like I just don't want to go back to clinical side and all. And my husband is a data analyst. So I have quite a bit of knowledge about the field. So I'm interested. I just want to explore what I can do with my medical skills and everything.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Then we
Thank
have
you.
Jyoti. Jyoti Sawant.
Hello, good morning. Ma'am, I'm a dental graduate. I'm currently pursuing MBA in healthcare management, and alongside, I'm also working in insurance sector. But I want to switch my career in healthcare IT sector, health informatics. So for that, I've joined.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks, Jyoti.
Kiran.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Kiran. I have completed my B Farm and I was looking for admissions like in M Farm or Health Informatics. So I was confused between Health Informatics and M Farm. I had interest in Health Informatics, so to gain much knowledge and experience like about how it is like. So I joined the session.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kiran. Then Namitha.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Namita S. Kumar, and I'm a BDS graduate currently working in a clinic. I wanted to know more about the health informatics course and how is it about. So, and even I have a plan to do masters in health informatics. So, to know more about it, I have joined this session.
Okay. Great. And then we have Pooja. Dr. Pooja. Dr. Pooja, are you there? You're on unmute if you're saying something.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Pooja. I've done my MDS in endodontics. And yeah, I've done the foundational course with Dr. Shireen in health informatics. So just wanted to know what the future and how to go about it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Yeah. So I think most of us, most of the people in the session today, they are from the dental background, and we have one from B Pharma and one from biotech. So we can frame the session so that they are also able to understand what health informatics is, and then how can they contribute in the field. Yeah. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shreen, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Very interesting to know that there are formats like this because of Dr. Shreen, that we can talk about it, explore more about it. Way back in 2011, I remember, and I discussed my journey with Dr. Shreen. There was um, something called as so there was LinkedIn, which was newly started, and there was an older version of Facebook. So getting in touch with people, having health informatics experience was really tough to find out how would we go about it. Thanks to technology and courses like this and webinars like this, I think feel free to ask your questions. I'm going to go through my journey. You could take inspiration from that, get ideas how you can grow. And towards the end of the whole presentation, Dr. Shireen is going to guide you towards specifics of each of those courses, about more details about links and stuff like that. If you can go to the next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's going to be the journey for us in next 45 minutes or 1 hour. What we're trying to cover is explain about each and every aspect of different roles that you can take up in your career, whether it's a business analyst role or a project management role or a product manager role. We're going to slightly touch on product manager role and probably have that, it's a whole topic in itself, so we can probably touch that some other time, but we're definitely going to touch on business analysis, a day in life of a business analyst, what do you expect if you want to grow from a business analyst to a project manager, what skills do you require to be a project manager if that interests you a little more, what are the basics of project management, and going on to a life of a product manager. And then we'll talk about, as I mentioned, about each and every links, what all courses are there. We'll take up the Q&A at the end of the session. I hope that's fine with everyone. And I would really encourage, don't be shy that you're at home, wherever you're sitting. Don't be shy at all. I really encourage you to come on camera. That just makes the whole session very interactive, and would love to interact with you all. So I move on to basics of what is business analysis. So what you, as in terms of the definition by IIBA, it is a practice of enabling change in an organizational context by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. So what I mean by that in very layman language is what is really required out of you is to understand what is the client's need, right? What does the real client want? And transfer those requirements to your development team, right? Most of you coming from a dental background, let me explain it to you how the teams are structured in a IT, healthcare IT, or any IT department. So they're generally a product team or a business analyst team. There is a dev team, that is a development team, those who do all the coding, what you request them to do, bringing up requirements. And there's a QA team, and then there's also a project management team. Broadly, very broadly, and there can be hundreds more teams, obviously, named very differently. They can be quality control, etc., etc. But these are the main teams that you work with. A very small agile team is basically made of this. Now, when you start working with these teams, we try to understand who's going to bring the requirements, who's going to talk to the client. Everyone can't go and face the client and ask them, what do you want, right? There needs to be one person who goes there and asks. Now, the next logical question is, why can't the dev team, someone who has to code, go directly to the client and take those requirements and build that up, right? That's a next logical question. And that was my next logical question in my mind is, if these guys have to code, why doesn't a lead or a director there go and talk to the client? You know what, by experience and what we know and is that coming from a clinical background, the edge that you have is that you, clinical or a healthcare background, is that you have an edge of having people skill right from start of your career as a BDS, right? You've been talking to patients inside every day of your life, whether it was high-end clientele, whether it was a laborer, anyone. You have developed that skill to ask ask and understand the requirement of the patient, right? That's been taught to you. So you have unknowingly that we really don't realize, but we have inculcated that skill really well, right? And that's what I believe we can encash on. That's the edge we can offer. That look, we have great people skill. You can understand what the requirement is and translate that into a documentation format to make sure that everyone is on the same page and give it to the rest of the team. So you are giving the requirements as it says here. You are basically giving the requirement, defining the needs, recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, the term per se is everyone who has interest in the project, in delivering value to the project. It could be the CEO of the company, it could be CFO, obviously. Everyone who's involved with the project and is going to derive value out of it. More importantly, the client who's going to get value out of it. You understand those needs and then deliver it to the team. Whereas, coding, people from more of engineering background, they've not been trained like that. We have a different kind of a skill set and a mindset build. How do we talk, right? They might just come and they'll probably say to the client, no, this is not possible. This coding is not possible. We haven't done it. Or I'm giving you real life examples. When we talk, it might be that this particular programming does not give us the flexibility to do this. We can't say this to the client. We have to be very particular and aware about the words that we're using, and that's what we're taught, or that skill that we have upscaled ourselves during the 5 years of BDS, during your healthcare education, what the terminologies were you using. The second most important thing here to understand is why you are here and why I think it is of value for you, and you have an edge in the healthcare informatics industry, is look, when you talk to the client or when you go to a dentist, if he uses the right language, you have that confidence and interest built there, right? That, okay, this one sounds like someone who can solve my problem. Now, when you talk to the client, you have that language, that those vocabulary already built in, right? You'll talk in the healthcare language. You don't hesitate to call a diagnosis a diagnosis. You won't call a diagnosis a code. You'll call a diagnosis. You understand what is the difference between a procedure and a procedure, and thus it is easier for you to relate to those examples instantly, right? I've in real life examples, I've worked with people who've been working on coding vaccinations for 5 years and more, and did not understand the meaning of what is a vaccination. And this might be very surprising to you, but that is the real case scenario. I mean, they are doing their jobs. How does it make? And they're building it. The code is perfectly fine. What is required? They build up the lot number, the frequency, everything the code required, which was perfectly fine, which was working absolutely fine. But then when there was someone to check them, for example, a business analyst, and when we really found out that why are the errors coming up, this guy is working for 5 years, why is this, some kind of an error coming up again and again, we really found out this guy never understood the meaning of vaccination. He was just building it up that, okay, some healthcare terminology, what do we have to do with it? I'm getting a good salary by coding it, let it be. So that's not how our mindset is, right? We want to learn and we want to grow and we want to understand while we're doing things, because we think we're dealing with human beings day in, day out. That's the kind of a nature that we build up with. And thus we adopted that kind of a stream for ourselves. So that's where I think we can bring value, and it's easier for us to climb that ladder of a business analyst to project manager or a product manager, because we understand the nuances of the business, and hence the term of business analysis. You can analyze the business, understand the business, and grow yourself, grow, and help the company grow in terms of bringing in requirements and giving it to the team. So it could be, if we can go back to the previous slide, and it could be that you're hired as a business analyst. You might be hired as an associate in the early stages of your career. It could be a product analyst, a product specialist, process analyst, any one of those. So it doesn't mean that you're not hired as a business analyst, thus it's different. No, your title may vary as per the organization, the structure there, as per their requirements, and the kind of differences in the role, what really you're doing at the end of the day, whether it's more product related, whether it's more process related, whether it's more enterprise related. Depending on that, your job titles may vary. So don't hesitate when you go on Naukri.com or all those websites to apply with those kind of titles, job titles. And you can go to the next slide. So the next question that comes to my mind is, okay, if I'll apply with those titles, what is going to be my day like? What am I going to do on the job? So your day could be divided into any of those sections: requirement elicitation, requirement analysis, or requirement documentation, depending on the organization requirements, where you are, whether you're an IST, times working for an IST, time zone, PST, EST, whatever time zone that you're working on, or the culture of the organization. You'll have to do each one of them depending on, whether you're doing it in the morning or evening. Requirement elicitation really, basically means you're talking to the client or the basic stakeholders and taking those requirements, understanding those requirements, the needs of the user or the stakeholders. Analyze is you analyze it, whether, so you just don't take the requirements and throw it to the next team that go start working on that. You basically understand, how can I make it better? Is there something already built by this organization? Has someone already applied their minds in some other organization and already done that for us? Do your due diligence in terms of research, and that is generally being taught on the job, in the initial stages of your career by any organization that you join. So you don't need to, be under pressure that how am I going to analyze? All of those is definitely taught to you. You need to have some level of understanding, giving them confidence that you can do it by building up certifications like this, by Bridge Builders and other certifications that we're talking about. So you give them some level of confidence that, look, I've understood the course, like you do in BDS and any other course, right? You tell them that, look, we've done the study. Now, if you give us a chance, we can do your work also. And that's how you hop on those jobs. The third one is requirement documentation. A very basic and very strong point of a business analyst is keeping everyone on the same page. And every time you talk to each one of them, obviously it's not recorded, right? But you talk to one stakeholder, one team at one point of time, you might be talking to some other team stakeholders at other point of time. To have a standard documentation or a template, how you're actually communicating your requirements, forms a basic requirement of a business analyst. And we learn that, obviously, how you do that, you learn that, as I mentioned, through certifications, through experience, and so on. So your transition from business analyst to project management, how does your once you're a business analyst, how would you transition, right? Or how do you see your growth, right? As a BDS or an MDS, you are a BDS or an MDS or a senior BDS MDS for the rest of your life. This does not happen in a corporate culture. In a corporate culture, you keep growing every 1-2 years, or depending on the organization culture. So as a business analyst, that's a growth ladder. That how it would look like. It would be an associate. You might start with an associate BA, but heads up, most of the doctors do get an edge of starting straight away from business analyst. They don't have to go under like an associate. I've really seen even good organizations like Accenture, which is CMM 5 level company, a huge company. Even they hire at least at a business analyst level. The rest, some of them, if you're not going through laterals, you might be hired as an associate, which just means that you might have 6 months or 1 year of extra training, and you'll have to pass a few exams before they take you as a business analyst. So you grow as an associate BA to a senior BA, and then to a BA lead, to become a product owner, basically making sure that you're taking care of the project requirements yourself and building up a product backlog. And we'll talk about product backlog in a bit. You could grow, you could have certification just as you do it in a business analyst. You might work in a particular environment and say, look, I've also done a certification in project management, or probably you have interest or you volunteer yourself to be a project manager if you think you have those skills or you have interest towards project management. And then your hierarchy goes in a way of project manager to senior PM to becoming a director, VP, and a delivery head. A product manager, a basic why product manager and business analyst are side to side is because more frequently you see business analysts becoming a product owner and then hopping on to a job of a product manager. I see more growth as a product manager in the industry right now. I think it's a hot skill, as in right from Amazon, people from Amazon, Google, Oracle, Microsoft. Everyone wants a product or a startup. Any startup is hiring a product manager left, right, center. They want someone to take care of the product wholesome, making sure that there's enough users, there's enough traction by whom we want as particular users. And that journey goes on from PM to senior PM, director, VP, and product head. Can we go? I see some questions coming up. May I take them at the end of the session?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, towards the end of the slides.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So just let me elaborate a little more on project manager. I hope most of the questions are resolved by the time we finish the slides, but we'll be happy to answer them. So what do you expect out of a project manager role, right? Basically a project manager is someone who uses specific knowledge, skills, and tools and techniques to deliver something of value to people. And the key word here is deliver. Once you've given the requirement as a business analyst or a product manager, the core job of a project manager is to deliver, as in make sure the components, the team comes together, the money comes together, the effort comes together, and it is delivered to the client in a timely manner with the money that we've thought of, right? It can't be that you've thought of this project closing in 500K and you're taking 2 million to close this particular project. Or you thought that this project can be closed in by 5 resources and you're taking 50 resources to close this, or 50 days to close this. To make sure that it is streamlined, what you want is delivered in a more efficient way is called as project management. So that's the job of a project manager. It could be used in, obviously it's used in development of software for an improved business process. You might be working in a construction of a building as a project manager. You could be working on a relief effort of a natural disaster or expansion of sales of a new geographic market. All of that, definitely all of that, and any one of those, it would be into a job of a project manager. And we'll go to the next slide. Sure, Nidhi, I see your question, Pooja. I definitely see your question. We'll answer those. We have specific certifications called out in the last slides. Okay. So talking about project management methodologies, on the go, if you have to choose what kind of a project management certificate you're going to go for, or what kind of the first question I think they ask in terms of a project management in any kind of an interview, or that do you even know about anything about project management, is they're going to ask what kind of methodology do you use in your organization, or what kind of methodologies of, right? Like if you start with if I have to give an analogy in healthcare, I would say if you go for or a patient comes up for filling, they basically ask, ask you what kind of fillings will you do, right? Or what kind of filling will you do in my tooth? The basic. So this is absolute basic of project management. What kind of methodology? So it is the basics of uh, project management are waterfall methodology and agile methodology to be the top two methodologies which are there in the industries. The waterfall methodology is more of a traditional way of doing stuff, of doing project management, as in they start with a project, analyze the project end to end, and take considerable good amount of time in understanding the project and building up BRDs, that is business requirement documents, from end to end, right? It's kind of a really lengthy requirements given at the end of all the analysis, and then hardly any changes are done to these requirements, even if if required, there are versions created, but very less changes are done in those kind of methodology. Whereas agile methodology is something which is more in today, as in most of the industries or organization have shifted towards agile methodology. What basically is done, instead of building BRDs, we use user stories or epics to define the requirements, and what is expected is that these whatever build that is being done is quickly shown to the user. It is give me a second, please. Um, so um, so it is quickly done. So the requirements are quickly delivered, and then you can get the feedback from the client very easily, very fast. So that if the client is not really happy, would like to make certain changes, we can do that, right? It makes it very flexible, adaptable, and thus most of the clients definitely want that, and that's what is being adopted by most of the organizations these days. Well, Scrum methodologies and Kanban and Lean methodologies are Prince 2 is kind of certification, and Six Sigma is again other kind of methodologies that exist in the market today. Well, these are methodologies which can be talked in depth, each one of them. Let me just give you a line by line. Kanban is something where you build out the processes in terms of sticky notes and build out the processes very elaborately to make sure it gives you a structure. So Agile and Kanban would not be very, very different. Kanban is more of a Japanese kind of coming from that kind of a workflow where you make sure that this is done after this is done after this, by figuring out how the process would work. It's more of process. And whereas Lean is adaptation of little bit of Kanban as well. But what they really do is all the non-value added processes are taken out, so that what is delivered to the client or the organization, whatever you do is of absolute value. As in anything which is time taking is only done for your mind satisfaction, as in lot of documentation is taken out of the whole process, right? A lot of duplication is taken out of the process that people do for satisfaction, that at least we have a backup, all of that is considered as non-value thing in Lean methodology. Basically, it started from Toyota and then rolled out to the organization as it got quite a lot of efficiency in the whole process. Prince 2 certification, it's kind of a certification which is followed, is slightly different from ISB certification that we have in the market, but more or less it's more of coming from the UK market. So there are two kind of certifications. There's IIBA and there is Prince 2. Both are equally, I think, people are open to both the certifications. This one being slightly easier than the other one, and more on from the UK market, whereas the other one is more from the US market. And we know that more of the business coming to India is from the US market, and hence a slight inclination towards the other one. Okay. Six Sigma is basically making sure the errors are removed from the process as much as possible, bringing in 99.8% efficiency. And there are certain steps that they follow for it, for making sure more on from industrial point of view for those for making sure that whatever physical task that you're doing comes down to zero. The errors come down to zero. So, which is more apt for why so many methodologies and how to choose, and which is apt. When why so many methodologies? Because we've grown, we've learned, and we've learned which is the best way to go about it, and it's still evolving. How to choose, that basically depends on the organization and the culture. It's generally a management decision which is being done, and we learn on the process as we're evolving on the job. And so agile methodology, for example, has SAFe and Scrum certifications of their own. If you say that you're a SAFe certified Scrum Master, you definitely have an edge. People looking for Scrum Masters at back of the hand. If you go to Naukri or any other job website, they straight away ask for those certifications. Someone who's having those kind of certifications are most welcome to join, to take up these kind of jobs. Which is apt for healthcare? Well, again, completely depends on kind of a project that you're working on. If you're more of a client-facing kind of a project, they definitely still tend to go by agile methodology because everyone wants to keep the client happy. Waterfall methodologies, again, are more traditional. Most of the organizations that I have seen, and the best of organizations, it's generally a mix of waterfall and agile methodology. It's never we are doing waterfall because we can't keep the development team waiting for someone to build up the document and then start the work, right? So it's generally a mix of both the methodologies in real world that we see today. Let's go to, so why you can do it better in case you'd like to go for a project management course. Like I gave you those kind of things that why you can do it better, right? As a business analyst, how can doctors, and coming from healthcare background, how you can excel as a business analyst. I myself have worked as a project manager and a Scrum Master in my organization. I volunteered for certain projects. When I just took up my Prince 2 certification, it definitely offered me an edge when I was taking up those jobs. Like, look, I do have this kind of a certification as well. If you hire me as a business analyst and you need me as a Scrum Master, I'll be there to help. And so that was an edge I think I offered at the time of interview, and I was hired. The second thing is, when they wanted to shift from waterfall methodology to agile methodology, easily they had, easily the first choice was me, because I was already a business analyst. And as a business analyst and coming from a clinical background, I 100% understood the requirements. So, as a project manager, when I'm tracking those kind of things, and if there's an error coming up at the first stage, right, I can stop therein, right? Because what happens in not a usual, but environment is that a project manager is given this goal to achieve, right? And it might be at a later stage that he understands, oh, there's a flaw there, there was an error here because this was not done appropriately. Whereas when I'm going through from a business analyst mindset and a project manager, I see this might go wrong on stage one, and I say, no, why not you do it this way? I think this will bring in a better efficiency way. No doubt that most of the, with God's grace, most of the projects that I did were highly successful, even though they were the first of kinds which were done by the organization. And that helped me gain a lot of confidence by my stakeholders and the CEO of the company. So that was really great to have. How to transit as a PM, as I already mentioned, you could take up those certifications, or you can ask your organizations to sponsor. Most of the organizations, if you have, if they have good amount of confidence with you, they can sponsor those certifications for you. And when to transit, whenever you have good amount of confidence that you can take up this role, even now, if you think you have those kind of skills to track, you have more of people skill, that okay, you can track them without offending them, right? You might have to talk to directors of the company, saying that you want this infrastructure to make sure that this is delivered. You track every day out, that okay, is this task finished? Is my project going as per the schedule? You can build up those schedules. You have that understanding. As soon as you can have that confidence, you can definitely transit to a PM role. So what's the difference between a business analyst and a product management role and a project management role? Well, a business analyst, when I started, it's more of detail oriented role, right? Detail oriented uh, as a business analyst, I would go into the final lines of the page, right? What it is. If there is a research which has to be done, it is a business analyst who will be doing that kind of a research. All the back end research, which is given to, and understanding which is given to the development team, is done by the business analyst. You understand the business really well to make sure that the team is abreast with the best of the knowledge to accomplish the goals. A project management role or a product manager role is per se not just those finer details, but we go on a higher level to make sure that the client, that the product is actually successful, or what the really client wants out of this product is useful. For example, what is the user's behavior? Or is there enough traffic on my, if I build this website as a product manager, is it getting enough traction? Is there enough traffic on my product, on my website? Is it actually successful? Is my client really happy? Am I getting those kind of feedbacks? So those kind of ideas, those kind of would the, you know, getting innovation ideas. How do I build this? How do I get more business out of it? How do I make sure that next year my product will get me 5 million instead of 2 million, right? So those kind of ideas would be coming from product managers, right? Now, as a product manager, if I want further support, that will be my product owners and business analysts that I'd be looking for. That, you know, go find out, is there a regulatory constraint? Can I actually bring this product to Dubai? Can I launch this product in Abu Dhabi? Would there be regulatory restraints about that? That ideas would come, you know, those research would be done by a business analyst, and I have to be really sure that as a product manager, I am owning the product, making sure not that the business analyst is owning that product a little less, but they're learning on the job, right? So they're doing those kind of research and they're working as a team. Project management, on the other hand, is making sure that what has been asked by a business analyst or the dev team or the QA team is being delivered at the end of the day. When I say that I'm going to deliver as a product manager, I'm going to deliver this product by November, I'm going to launch this product November next year, the project manager, and I have everything ready as per the requirements. The project manager is going to go and say, okay, this is the team structure that we are going to build with. This is the effort which is required. This is the cost which will go into it. We take approvals from the senior stakeholders or higher management, and we go and we pull off the project. So that's the basic differences between each one of those roles. So we've talked about life in the, you know, day in life of a project manager, and let's touch upon day in life of a product manager. Well, it's more on, I think it would be a little clear by now that it is more on connecting and communicating. It's more on learning and analyzing and deciding and documenting. So basically, if I have to make sure that my product is launched at the right time, I need to see the technical feasibility. I need to see whether there's financial feasibility. I need to see if it's a product market fit. Is there anyone I have this great business idea, but would there be enough users who will be ready to buy it? At what cost? Who's going to decide that cost, right? So I need to do further learning and analyzing on that one. I'll have my product owners and business analysts to help me out with it. I'll have data analysts to find out more on the market. I'll have trend analysis done. How does it work? Is there seasonal, for example, is there seasonal variations if I try to do this kind of a thing? All of that is definitely done. And then deciding and documenting it, that look, this is a decision that's been taken on the product with my stakeholders, definitely having everyone hand in hand and then growing the product further, right? Or building a product. So that's how, and it might be talking to a UI UX designer. So how would my screen look like? Should I put a button there? Would the user be more more at ease and comfortable if I give a cancel button there, or should I just bring a notification that you can't go back from this page, or you have to go to the next page? What would make life of a user easier, right? How do I build the product as a wholesome, bringing in value? That is what life of a product manager would look like. So, as we've talked about all the three roles, so the next step is how do you gain relevant education about each one of those? Like, you don't just become a doctor. You have to gain certain amount of knowledge, bring in confidence to your patients, and then you go on starting work. Not in very similar manner. It could be that you're working in an organization, you continue your journey of learning, and then you take up different roles. And once you feel that this is the thing for me, I enjoy doing this role much more than doing that role, or things that you've done in the past, you hop on those roles and grow in that particular area. So you gain relevant education. You identify and talk to a mentor, probably someone like Dr. Shireen, someone at your organization, someone you're reporting to, and say that, look, this is how I would like to grow. Could you give me that kind of an opportunity in this organization? And then you hop on to taking up those kind of roles. You might have to volunteer or do dual jobs, but that's how you grow, right? Don't hesitate by that this is a little extra work on my plate. If you'd like to grow, you'll have to take some initiatives. That's what I've learned. And learn on the job, get certified again, as I mentioned. You can continuously, your organization might even sponsor you for those kind of organizations, and you take up those kind of roles on the job. I'll hand over the torch to Dr. Shireen, and she can take you through links or specific organizations that offer you those certifications besides bridge builders as well.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for explaining your journey, and then how how the candidates in the webinar today, they can utilize their learnings and grow in the field of health informatics as a business analyst, and more towards project management if they want to. So thank you so very much. I hope you guys have understood the roles and the differentiations between these three major roles that we have in the industry right now. As a business analyst, what you're supposed to do, it's more of operational work that you do on the requirements part. You understand the business in and out, and product management is more about product, where you talk about the product, how you can enhance the product and make the life of your user simplified, make sure that the adaptability or the adoption of the product can be done in the right manner. And then project is all about the handling the entire project, making sure that the project is delivered on time. That's the key for a project manager. So moving on to the next, the steps in terms of how you can gain relevant education or get certified. These are the globally recognized certifications for anyone as a fresher. So as a business analyst, if you want to start working, you have to have some basic understanding of business analysis certifications. The two major organizations are IIBA, which is their headquarters in Canada. It's International Institute of Business Analysis. And then we have BCS, which is a UK based globally recognized institution. So both of them are globally recognized. The only thing is that BCS, this is a little easier to crack, and IIBA, for the entry level certification, is still easy. But then if you want to grow yourself as a business analyst, like from ECBA you want to go to CCBA, which is competency level, and then you have a final certification, advanced level, which is CBAP. So going from ECBA, which is entry level, to CBAP is the last one, advanced one, is a little difficult to crack. And Dr. Priyanka, she's known people who have been in the project management, but they've not been able to crack the CBAP certification. So that's a little more trickier version, because it's more of case scenario based, and you don't get any straightforward questions. The newer version of business analysis, as the IT industry as a whole, they're moving more towards agile methodology. The newer version is the IIBA AAC, which is agile certification. So you can understand more about these certifications if you go onto their websites. I will also share the links of these certifications in the WhatsApp group if any one of you want to join at the entry level and want to get certified from these organizations. So all of these three are globally recognized. You can do any one of them, and you can start applying for or you can start applying as a volunteer, like she mentioned, or even as interns in organizations who want to hire business analyst in their at their workplace. Then the same thing for project management is that you cannot straight away at this level do a project management kind of a certification. It is like a slow process, slow as in a learning process. So initially you do business analysis and then you move on to the project management or product management roles, like ma'am has already mentioned about it. These are the two major certifications, again globally recognized, PMP and Prince 2. So both of these certifications, any one of them you can do, and then you can start applying as a product management. And right now I think many organizations are also starting certifications just for product management. So since product and project, both the management aspects are different, so we do have certifications in product management also coming in. But it's a very fairly new thing that that the organizations have started to offer. I could not find any new globally recognized certifications. If I do, I will definitely share it in the group for you guys if anyone is willing to do it. Ma'am, are you aware of any product management related certifications that are there?
Yeah, I think very recently IIM Kozhikode is offering product management. So is Indian School. I think not exactly product management, something related definitely to product management. Even ISB, Indian School of Business, is offering that. Yeah, so those are very high-end schools, but obviously with high-end fees also. The fee structure is on a higher side, but they definitely are offering those certifications and degrees in the colleges.
Okay, I think that's great. And ma'am, also I just had a question. Like these certifications, uh, these are all recognized, like globally recognized or good, recognized institutions or certifications that we have. But like for business analysis, we have very different academies also. They provide, like say maybe at an entry level, not a IIB recognized, but just if you want to gain certification on business analysis, like if I just go on to Udemy, I can get a certification from Udemy, like I have done or I know what business analysis is and the basics of it, the basic documentation. Like usually when we start as associates, we would be asked to work on a use case diagram, for example. So do you recommend having these basic skills also, or basic certifications, and then they can start as a volunteer, as an intern in some organization, so for a period of 6 months, and then they can go with a globally recognized certification? Can that be a path also?
Absolutely, Shireen. But you know what? As a someone, let's think from a point of view of a recruiter, right? Even so, gaining knowledge from all these and building up on what you have, 100, 200%. I think it makes absolute sense, and everyone has grown, as in terms of the mindset as well. If you're there in an interview and you can answer those questions for them, they really, it won't be so much of a difference to them, that you've done it from Udemy or what. But definitely having that traction with those kind of a Udemy courses, that recruiters will come and call you that let's have a interview call. With the Udemy course or a Coursera course, I've seen it a little less, to be very honest. That they're going to ask you that let's have a call. That is kind of that really comes from a referral route in those kind of a cases. Having physical certifications or certification, something they've probably done from their own city, it just brings out a little more confidence in the recruiter's mind, I feel, because you've actually interacted at the end of the day, the students have actually grasped much more than online certifications. As human beings, we also know that how much of a, I'm day in day out into learning, but on online courses, how much can you really grasp out of a 20 hours course, right? And when you're not actually seeing it in your day in day life, if I'm doing that and learning that, it's a different story altogether. But when you've not seen that kind of an organization, you're not even familiar, sensitized with what kind of teams, and then you're talking about giving them user story points, all of that, it becomes a little tough for people to imbibe those kind of a knowledge as well. So yes, having knowledge and build up by Udemy and Coursera courses, 100% keep building up. It will help you crack interviews. It will help you give you more knowledge. I would suggest a little more personalized courses or very high end courses to get more traction.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Personalized courses, as in, when I say personalized courses, I would say someone, so as bridge builders, you're offering this one, they can at least say that, we've attended those classes, right? And everything wasn't online. So that definitely gives a little more confidence to the recruiters sometimes.
Correct. Okay. So, like ma'am said, one can do these certifications just to start off, but then eventually, if you want to grow in the industry and if you want to be seen as a professional, as a business analyst or a product manager or project management, it is bound that you do certifications from well globally recognized institutions. Now, this is all about business analysis or project management that we are talking about, the certifications. But if you want to grow as a whole in health informatics, since all of you come from healthcare and life sciences background, if you want to grow in the field of health informatics, you need to have some basic, at least basic level of understanding of what the field is all about, what are the different products that are offered in this field, what are the different applications, what are the government initiatives now that we are having in the field of health informatics, what are the essentials, say, of data science, or how you can use artificial intelligence in healthcare. So all of this, at least a basic level of understanding to at least crack an internship kind of a role, or maybe an associate kind of a role. For that, you need to do a foundational course or a health informatics kind of a beginner level course, which we as bridge builders we are offering. So this course is a 12 weeks online safe self-paced and an online blended learning program. We do provide study and reference material. A lot of case studies are also provided with regular assessments every week, and every week we have live sessions like this, which can be hosted either on Saturdays or Sundays. Certification, yes, it is provided. We also help you in resume building, in building your LinkedIn profile, and if you are regular with the course, because last batches that we have, already we have completed 4 batches. What we have seen is only 1 or 2 candidates, they are regular in the course, they don't submit or they have submitted all the assignments and everything. So only for those kind of candidates who are really serious during the entire 12 weeks program, for those we are planning to provide an internship opportunity also, but there is definitely, we'll help you out in that, but there's no guarantee. So that's what we are offering. And in this current session that we are today having, I think Dr. Pooja, Dr. Anila, they have already passed out from our course. And Rutuja, have you joined? Are you there? Yeah, Rutuja is already there. She's the current batch who's pursuing this course. So you can connect with these people and you can identify, or you can ask them how the course are. You can go onto my LinkedIn profile and look for in the recommend section. You can look out the reviews of what people are talking about the course. You can also search us on say on Google by the name of Pipedia Education and Knowledge Academy. There also we do have reviews. So we are trying to build up this course to give you basic knowledge and help you get started in the field. Coming back to your question, Dr. Pooja, where you asked for master courses, in health informatics. Now that totally depends from where you want to do it. So whether you want to do it from India or whether you want to do it from outside India. In India, like both of us, me and Dr. Priyanka, both of us are passed out from IHMR Delhi. So IHMR Delhi was the first one who started off with health informatics way back in 2011, and right now also they are they have PGDM program in health informatics. Then after IHMR Delhi, there is IHMR Bangalore. They also have a master's course in health informatics. PHFI also offers a health informatics course, but the PHFI one, it's like a 5-year course, so it's a dual degree wherein they have MSc plus PhD. They just are not providing about Master of Science. It's a dual degree program that they are providing, so it's hence it is 5 years program. Then there is one more which is in Jaipur, Mahatma Gandhi University of Medical Sciences. They also provide MSc program in health informatics, and Mahe also has a MSc program in health informatics. So these are the good ones that I am aware of. Dr. Priyanka, ma'am, you can help out if you know any more programs, master courses that are provided in India. Then abroad, if you're talking about, you can either do it either from US, from Canada, from UK. The difference is that in US, Canada, the master's program, they are usually 2 years program. In UK, most of these master programs are for 1 year. So like Swansea University in UK, they do provide a health informatics course. Again, one of our student, batch 2, I think, she was doing foundational course, and while she was doing it, she gained learnings on health informatics, and she could crack the SOPs and the application in the Swansea University, UK. So she's currently now doing the master's program from Swansea. So that's 1 year program that she's doing. Then in US, there are a lot of, if you just go on to website, on to Google, you'll get a lot of master courses, like Georgia University is there, MIT is there, Boston University is there, New York University. All of these universities, they do provide health informatics programs. In Canada, that 2 of the programs that I am aware of is George Brown College, and the another one is McMaster. So these are the 2 programs. Health IT in Canada, we have covered it on one of our sessions also in YouTube. If you can just search for it on our channel, you'll get it. So Dr. Vidhi, she has done it from Canada, from McMaster University. So these are the good ones, or at least the ones that I know of. There might be many others also, but these are the ones because I've seen people doing majorly from these universities, so I'm aware of them. If I get any other information, I will definitely reach out to you, and you can either come back to me and you can ask more about the master program. So yeah. So that's about our course that we are offering. If you have any questions related to the foundational course, what we are covering, how much is the duration, how do we help in the assessments, what are the kind of assessments that we give, all of those things. If you have more questions on the course, you can always reach out to me. And before we end today's session and I take up the Q&As, I want you guys to let's at least do a SWOT analysis. Now, the idea behind this SWOT analysis is to help you guys understand that despite of the fact that we come from clinical background or we don't know too much about technology, we can still work in the health informatics field, right? So I want you guys to do a SWOT analysis. Each one of you will give you 10 minutes. Do a SWOT analysis for yourself and identify your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats, whether you want to work as a business analyst or you want to grow as a project manager, right? So let's do a SWOT analysis, and then we'll look up the SWOT analysis of how a business analyst and a project management, the whole SWOT looks like, and so that you can also verify and validate to see that whether your SWOT and the SWOT that we have done for you guys, is it matching or not. The whole idea is, if it is matching, that yes, that means that yes, you can start off and you have those skills that you can work in the health informatics field, either as a business analyst and then grow towards project or product management roles. Right. Is that okay, guys? Are you all on the same page? Okay, I just got okay, Rutuja. Okay, fine, great. So let's do a SWOT analysis. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, we'll take 10 minutes. We'll give you 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes we'll connect back again. So, ma'am, I think 10 minutes we'll connect back again with these guys. Ma'am, we'll connect back in 10 minutes. You can take a break.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Are you guys done? Okay, others? Please unmute yourself if you guys are saying something. Okay, Rituja is also done, Jyoti is done. Okay. Okay, so let's discuss. Okay, what do you think are your strengths as a first and foremost, tell me how many of you have done it for business analysis, how many of you have done it as a project manager. Please type in your answers in the chat if you are not done it for BA or project management or product management. BA, okay. Anindita, she's done it for BA, not done any course. No, you don't have to do any course, Jyoti. Perform for BA, okay. Dheeraj also done it for BA. Others? Rutuja, Kiran, BA, product management, Rutuja, okay, great. Okay. So, what are your strengths as a BA or as a product manager? What do you think are the strengths? Come on, I want interaction now. Please unmute yourself and let's have a small interaction. Okay, so let's start for BA. Dheeraj. Dheeraj?
Hello, hi.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right. Sorry, I was unable to introduce myself earlier. My name is Dheeraj, and I have graduated from MAHE in 2015. I've studied MSc in Health Information Management and Hospital Administration. So, when I did my SWOT analysis for the role of a BA, I realized that my strengths were the academic background and some understanding of the concepts like health information exchange, interoperability, standards, the various applications that I use like EHRs, etc. Right,
Yeah.
and my weaknesses being lack of on-the-job business analysis. So I'll give you a little bit of my background. Currently, I'm a working professional from the last 7 years, and currently I'm working with quality and regulatory of medical devices. So the products that I work on are software as a medical device, and I am not a part of the BA team, and that's where I want to get. Right, I'm not in the product team, but I'm more on the R&D side and the product management, like on the support side, post market. So my weakness is being whenever I try for a lateral entry, I find it difficult to get myself shortlisted because of the lack of on-the-job business analysis skills that they are looking for, especially when I'm looking for, I'm really passionate about the healthcare applications, healthcare IT, but having familiarity towards the theoretical aspects will make it difficult for me. So lack of on the job skills and opportunities being I'm not sure what the opportunities are. Probably this is the first time I'm trying to interact with a group and try to understand what opportunities do I have. Although I've been trying, I've been connecting with people on LinkedIn, but I'm trying to understand where do we have opportunities, and if somebody can help me get myself recommended. And threats. So again, coming back to the way we have a lateral hiring system and lack of relevant experience will definitely, I think, stop you from being shortlisted, right? Because somebody with relevant skills, I'm not saying relevant skills, somebody with the job title and the relevant skills, they get shortlisted, and you would not be heard. So that's where I'm stuck, and this is my SWOT analysis that I was able to do right.
Right, correct. So Dheeraj, very well done, and it's very clear of the sort that you have done. So, like you mentioned, the weaknesses are you're not getting shortlisted, maybe because you don't have the relevant skills, which we have already covered in the session today. So, since you already have a good amount of background knowledge in terms of health informatics, I would recommend you to go ahead with these certifications, like we already mentioned, for business analysis, either from IIBA or you can get it done from BCS UK. So, ISEB, BCS UK, any of these two. Most preferable choice usually that I have seen is BCS. You can also go ahead with either IIBS, ECBA, because you if you don't have any relevant knowledge on business analysis skills, start with the entry program, and then you can move on to the different other certifications from entry level to competency, and then finally to a certified professional. So that's how the ladder is of IIBA. And for BCS, you can just apply, you can start getting trained on for the BCS certification and get yourself certified. So that's your opportunity, that yes, in the market we do have these globally recognized institutions and certifications available. So if you do these, definitely you'll be able to crack the the interviews that you have been, wherever you have been trying to apply, right? The other way of doing it is also, while you are, say, you're already working somewhere, right? You mentioned, so say on during your job only you are doing the certification. Now when a new project comes in, you can always say that I'm doing a certification on, say, BCS, business analysis. I would like to offer the skills that I'm learning in my certificate course onto this new project. So it can be a kind of a volunteering role, at first. And then once your teammates also, they they get confident that yes, you can do the work as a business analyst, they'll give you more of BA related roles and work, right? So that's how you start. These are the two ways. And the third is, yes, LinkedIn is good source. You keep connecting with people, and ask if they have relevant opportunities available in that space, and you can start then you can start applying for those. So these are the three major opportunities. But then foremost is that you need to work on your weakness. You need to get certified from somewhere. If not, if you feel that okay, these certifications are costing you money right now, which you are not ready to afford right now, maybe, then do at least some courses from Udemy, from Coursera on to business analysis front. Take up volunteering jobs, internships side by side, or some freelancing work on in this space, and then get going. Get some experience from these basic certifications, and then once you have a good amount of experience, say maybe 1 year you have worked as a business analyst, then upgrade yourself with the globally recognized certifications that are there in the market, right? I think that's the way of progressing in your career.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's what I've been thinking. I've been thinking about the foundation towards ECBA, if not
Yes.
the ECBA certification itself. Getting myself, again, in the market, when it comes to health informatics, you have BA, generic BA for offer, right? Like, so those are the skills that are being offered in the market, like when it comes to courses from Tech Canvas or any other institution that way. So I'm trying to look for specific BA related programs where it is focusing on health informatics.
So BA related, your work will be same, like you're saying, the generic work that will be same.
Yeah.
It does not change with the respect to your industry,
Yep.
right? So your work profile as a business analysis will be the same. It's just that
Alright.
you're applying that knowledge, those skills, in the healthcare sector. That's the only difference. So if you are looking for a healthcare BA kind of a certification, that is not available. And even if it is there, it is more for for the insurance, health insurance related per se,
Yes,
where they
that's
teach
what
you
that's what I see.
where they teach you EDI transactions, and they are talking about HIPAA regulations, and they are talking about the health insurance per se. So that's more on to that, not onto the provider front that we have, like not on the EMR or HIS aspect. So if you are either if you're doing it for a healthcare BA kind of a role, then mostly you get the work profile that you get is mostly from US based organizations, the US outsource. Like you can work with I think Accentive, because they work exclusively in the health insurance space, right? So these are the areas that they'll be covering in healthcare BA, like you're talking about. They don't cover the business analysis um, um, uh, skills that are required, like the elicitation part of it or the documentation part of it. Okay, so they talk more on the health insurance perspective with US healthcare, keeping the focus area is US healthcare. Whereas if you do a generic BA kind of a thing, like IABA, ECBA certifications, say you have done, or you have done it from BCS UK, those generic BA skills you can apply in any of the domains of health informatics, be it your insurance, be it provider side, be it mobile application, be it your telemedicine, any area. So it gives you a more broader perspective. Whereas if you're doing that specific healthcare BA role, you're stick again to a niche area, which is health insurance and the
Right.
claims part of it, right? That's the only
Right.
area that they are covering. So choose wisely, right? And
Right. Yeah.
in India now, since we know Ayushman Bharat digital mission is starting off, and once it is rolled out pan India, we'll have more of digital health. Already we have so many digital health organizations as startups, and they need people like us in the industry. So if you want to broaden your perspective, I will recommend to do a generic BA and apply those skills in the health informatics. That's how
Right.
what we have done. Rest is completely, it's your choice and your interest also, which one is more of your interest area, right?
Right. Thank you, ma'am. I'm currently looking for an IJP within my organization because they do have projects. But yeah, I need to be relieved from my current project. So I require those permissions. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the views and your suggestions.
Ma'am, anything else from your side? Any suggestion from your side?
Yeah, what I'd just like to add a small one there is my 2 cents is that Dheeraj, whatever you're doing currently, so if you currently keep on projecting what you're doing already, right, it will obviously yield you same results.
Correct.
What obviously keep learning whatever Dr. Shireen suggested. I'm like 200% with her. Along with that, what I do is project whatever you're doing already in terms of the language in your resume or in your day-to-day job, projected as more of a BA, right? If you want your next job as a BA, then whatever you're doing currently, for example, if you're doing some amount of documentation and post support, building up reports,
Yes.
building up, if not requirements, but whatever kind of documentation that you're currently doing, project that a little more, right? So requirement elicitations. So, but understanding I know you're working on the post support side, but you're understanding the client requirements also. There might be 1 or 2 support calls that you're getting where the client comes in with a new requirement as it is. If you could pull that off, like help your current team build those requirements, ask them the template that they are using, right? Try and build those 1 or 2 requirements that you get on your support calls. If you could project that kind of a work that, look, I built those requirements on the template that you have given me, right? It's an on job. So that's how you showcase that you are learning on the job, you want to go there. Definitely have those interactions with them, make them feel comfortable also, because someone coming from another team, I'd say, I already have my team, I'm hiring someone who's already experienced, right? Why would I hire you? But having those, giving them also that comfort, a little comfort zone, that you're interacting with them, giving them that, look, this is how I'm striving to get there with you guys. Building on those, working on those extra, as I mentioned, this will be a little extra from your 8-hour job, right? Once you build those documentation, showcase it wherever, you can highlight it in front of your managers or their managers, actually, BA managers, that, look, I'm doing that kind of a job. I'm trying to get into your team. That might help you go there in your current organization. And then in your resume, as I mentioned, highlight those key areas where you already where there is an overlap between your work and their work, right? That's how you can go there. I think.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so let's look at one of the thoughts on product management aspect. Jyoti, sorry, Jyoti has not done it. Okay, Rutuja, let's talk about your SWOT. Rutuja, are you there? You're on mute if you're saying something. Please unmute yourself. You need to unmute yourself, Rutuja. Okay, let's look at Namita then. Namita has also done it for product management. Namita, are you there? Namita S. Kumar. Okay. No problem, Rutuja. We'll discuss then maybe anytime else. Okay. Anyways, so let's move on to the SWOT that we did, and it's almost similar to what Dheeraj has already mentioned about. So whether you want to work as a BA, whether you want to work as product manager or project manager, your strengths will always revolve. So this one we have done it for somebody, say, who's already working as a BA, for example, and then now they want to move towards product management, because that's what the webinar was all about, BA to product or project management. So from those aspects, the strengths are basically that you acquire strong analytical skills. And as ma'am has already mentioned, we as clinicians, we do have those skills inbuilt, while we are being taught during our education years. How do we diagnose a particular disease on the based of certain signs and symptoms? That's nothing but what we are doing is analyzing those symptoms and signs that we have identified, and then coming up to either a differential diagnosis, and then coming up to the final diagnosis. The same thing we are doing it in the business analysis or product management kind of a role, wherein you're applying those analytical skills and recommending solutions. So here, instead of dealing with a human life, you're actually dealing with products. That's the difference, right? So clear communication, because we have those people skills, and hence we are able to communicate better. And domain knowledge. Domain is the health, because we are talking about health informatics. So health knowledge or healthcare knowledge or medical knowledge, we come with that domain knowledge. So these are our strengths when we start working in the field of health informatics, whether as a BA or we move from BA towards more of product and project management roles. Weaknesses would be obviously limited if you want to go into managing projects or say managing products, for example, your experience would be less. So when you want to start working as a business analysis, your experience as business analyst would be less, and that is where you need to work on. You need to do more certifications, you need to gain knowledge on business analysis. Start with smaller certifications that are being offered by proprietor based organizations, or single based, like Udemy or Coursera, something like that. Just the basic, get those basic knowledge, do a volunteering job, do some form of internship if you are just starting out, and then you progress ahead by doing a globally recognized certifications. So that's how you progress, whether it is business analysis, whether it is project or product management. So you have limited experience. Delegation and team management, that again is your weakness, but you need to build on to this weakness as you grow in the career. As a fresher, nobody's asking you, or nobody's giving you teams to handle, or nobody's giving you delegation kind of a work. So that weakness you can build up as you grow in the career. Opportunities are that you do have a lot of mentors available. You can connect with people in LinkedIn, you can connect with people like me, Priyanka ma'am, or anyone in your in at your workplace itself. So you can find a mentor for yourself and take guidance. You do have a lot of professional development certifications available. There are trainings also available. You can join these kind of webinars at least to get some form of information, get your answers questions. Sometimes you might not be able to ask question from either from your mentors or from somebody who's guiding you, but then attending these webinars, you can just open up and ask your questions, right? So these webinars also help you. There are a lot of webinars being done by different organizations, so you can join these webinars and get going. YouTube today, in today's time, has a lot of long content available, so there also you can go. And all these the globally recognized institutions that I mentioned about, IIBA, BCS, they have their YouTube channels also. So they do host some webinars and they keep posting there. They do some live webinars also, that is also posted. So you can just do these. The only thing is, they are very, these webinars, like our webinar also, it's almost been 1.5 hours we are doing. So webinars usually are 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and you need to have that patience of sitting from the start till the webinar is ending. So this is one way of utilizing all that material that is available. That's the opportunity that you have to gain the skills that you want to, or experience there where you want to work for yourself. And threats is that you usually get resistance from team members, but then you have to keep on working. Like ma'am said, she did volunteering job, kind of a role, dual role in her organization, because she wanted to work as a product manager eventually. But you have to do that for initial time period, maybe 6 months or a year at least. And then you definitely, when your team members also, they gain trust that yes, this person is someone whom we can trust and we can give this kind of a role, definitely you that resistance level also goes down. So that threat that you might be having from team members, it's always best to start at your own workplace, and then you eventually move out into different with different organizations. That's how you work onto it. So that's how a SWOT analysis looks like from a BA to a project or a product manager, right? Now, if you have any other questions, how you start in health informatics, or anyone who wants to gain basic knowledge on health informatics field, you can always reach out to me on this number through WhatsApp or even calls. This is the social handle that we have. We are very active on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can reach out to me either through social media accounts, or you can also mail us on contact.whatafterdentistry@gmail.com. So if you have any other questions, we can take up the questions now. So Dr. Pooja's question I already answered. Next we have question from Kiran. He says, hi ma'am, what are the opportunities for pharma professionals in the field of health informatics? What are the various skills we should master? What are the roles we can enter after masters in health informatics? So ma'am, would you like to answer, or should I go ahead with this?
Either ways, Shireen. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so pharma professionals, see, again the role remains almost the same. There is, when I did my health informatics, I'm sure in ma'am's batch also, we had mix of people coming from clinical background, people coming from BDS, from BPT, from BHMS, homeopathy. So we had a mix of background. There were candidates from biotech background, for pharmacy background also. So when you work together as a team, nobody's going to look at you as a pharma person, right? They'll look at your skills as in health informatics. How what is your understanding, what is your knowledge in the field, what can you offer to the organizations? So your pharma background is not coming in any hindrance. One, it's only a positive signs, because you come from healthcare background, you understand how hospitals work, you understand how pharmaceutical industry works, right? So you can apply that knowledge into your health informatics field. Now many times, like in our batch also, we had students from pharmacy background. They were hired with organizations where PIS, which is pharmacy information systems, right? So you can directly work with those organizations where PIS is being developed, or being support work is being given, or maybe say the implementation is given, so something like that. So exclusively, if you want to work in the pharmaceutical, that's where you basically work. Otherwise, the sky is the limit in health informatics. You have so many domains within this field only, and then you can as when you are doing your masters, you'll identify, okay, these are the areas, or these are the products, these are the applications that I resonate better with, and then you can start working in those areas. Skills again would be the same. You need to know basics of health informatics. You need to know, if you're doing a master's course, then again in masters you have some technical knowledge also being shared, like SQL language or database management. So those technical aspects are also covered in the master's program. Then what are the standards that goes into building any kind of a product, any health IT related product. Then business analysis skills, how do you talk to clients, how do you gather requirements, what techniques are you going to use, how do you do documentation. So if it's agile, how do you write user stories? If it's a traditional waterfall, how do you write your use case diagram? What is the difference between, say, a software requirement specification or a business requirement document, something like that. So all these are covered when you do business analysis kind of certification. So these are the skills that are required. And like I said, when you do your program in health informatics, you understand the various products that are there, you understand the area within the space where you would like to work and what can you offer, right? So um, that's how uh, that's how even pharmacy professionals or anyone coming from not a clinical background, they are being looked at. So it's not like if you're not from clinical background you cannot work in health informatics. That's not the case at all. Ma'am, you would like to add on something?
I think you covered it all, Shireen.
Okay. So, Kiran, I hope we answered your question. If you have anything else, please go ahead.
Just that I think, Kiran, as Shireen rightly mentioned, it is more of a plus point for you because I have recently seen a lot of pharmaceutical companies coming up big time and hiring for data analyst, health informatics roles, various roles that we mentioned in the first slide. It could be a data analyst, it could be anything, business analyst, whatever. So basically, coming from informatics background, there's a huge demand that I see. Especially if I may mention a specific company name, it would be Novartis, hiring big time, MCure. So companies like that hiring big time these days.
Correct. Okay. And then we have another question from Jyoti. How is business analysis different from data analysis? Ma'am, I would like you to answer this because you're working in that space.
Sure. So, how is business analysis different from data analyst? I would say a business analyst would analyze, research the business 80% and do 20% of data analysis. Whereas a data analyst, on the other hand, would do 80% of the job time, the time that they spend on the job would be on data analysis and 20% on the business analysis. As a data analyst, you'd spend time working more on data, whether it's exploring data, understanding data, cleaning data, bringing up reports, bringing up numbers, all those kind of stuff. SQL, Python, more of SQL, I would say, is despite having increased. And then there is also, if you're interested in AI, there's predictive analysis models, regressive models, all of those. So a data analyst would typically spend much more time in playing with numbers and the data, 80% of the time, and 20% of the time is how you understand the business and churning out your reports for helping the product manager. And it's more of a basic difference. That was one difference of 80% and 20% difference. The other one is a data analyst is more of an individual contributor role. So you've been given a task and you run those numbers, you run your queries, you run your codes, and make sure that you have an analysis or a report by the end of the day or whatever the time span is given to you. Whereas a business analyst is a little more of a team player role rather than individual role, because you'll have to work with. Eventually, you'll have to convey that knowledge that you've gained on research to the rest of the teams and make sure everyone is on the same page by building up documentations, by building research, because you're not just doing it for yourself. You're eventually doing it for the organization and contributing it, right? So it requires a little more of people skill as well in case of a business analyst. Does that answer your question?
Jyoti, anything else? So she's also asking, do we need to learn SQL, Python, Power BI? So I think
Not Not really. It's a very big plus plus, to be very honest. If you know any one of these, if you can say your proficiency level is 8 out of 10, it will be a big plus on your resume. Having said that, it is not a must, right? Depending on the requirement. And if you know these, by the way, if you know SQL, Python, or Power BI, you're more likely to be hired as a data analyst rather than being hired as a business analyst.
Yeah, correct. So I think in the data analytics or analysis, it's more where we require more of technical, expertise rather than in the business analysis. Because so far, like even when I was working as a business analyst, I didn't require it on the job for technical knowledge. It was more on requirements, elicitation, like you said, people skills, working, communication, collaboration with stakeholders, documentation. That's aggressive documentation that I have done. So that's where most of the area of as a business analyst one needs to work. But yes, for data analysis, I think SQL is the best thing to start off with, because that's the basic. And then if you have interest, you can learn Python, R, Power BI, depending on what is required at your workplace.
Yeah, and SQL is not something that will take you so much so time. So if you're consistent with your practices, it might not just take more than 2 months for you to say that okay, you're on a proficiency level of 5 out of 10. And again, the sources are easily available,
Yeah, correct.
free sources. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, any other questions? We just had these 3 questions. Anyone has any questions? The room is open for questions now. Or we'll just wrap up. Nothing? Jyoti, you want to say something?
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, I'm working in health insurance currently in Pune, and I want to switch in healthcare IT, but I'm finding it difficult to how to apply and what all I need to write in the resume and how to build the resume.
Okay. So first and foremost, when you want to switch from insurance to IT, you need to have at least some basic knowledge on, say, what is an EMR, how do you work, what are the standards that goes into building an EMR, or at least some basic knowledge on business analysis front if you want to start off with, right? So first try and gain some basic understanding about the field, and then you start building your resume, like in terms of start putting down what is your understanding of health informatics in the say in your resume. When you build, have those skills, those keywords mentioned, which are required for the role. And when you start off, like ma'am said, there are associate BA's role which are available, or as a business analyst, if you come from a BDS background, you can apply for business analysis, and where the experience level is, say, fresher, or maybe 1 year 2 years experience, depending on how much experience you have in the health insurance. So basis on that, you can apply for those entry level jobs, and then start going. But then when you are applying, you need to, whatever they have mentioned in the job responsibilities section, you should be aware of those sections. You should have your expertise or strengths on those sections. So when you are, say, they might hire, they might call you for an interview, but during the interview they feel that you don't have those skills or those strengths, you mentioned them in the resume but you don't have it. So then obviously they will not be hiring you. So make sure that you build up onto those responsibility areas that they have mentioned. Either you do certifications, or you do some form of a course, or from any of these platforms like I mentioned, gain that knowledge, and then start building your resume, put in those keywords, and then start applying for entry level jobs, right? That's how you need to start off. Or the other way is, if you have time and money and you are ready to invest in yourself, do a master's program in health informatics and then get going. Okay. Another question from Dheeraj. Data analyst deals more with numbers, data, statistics, its inference and decision making. BA is more of documenting user requirements and translating to technical specifications. Yes, correct. That's the correct differentiation between the two roles. Okay. Okay, so I think we can wrap up now if there are no questions. So, thank you so much, everyone, for attending today's webinar. And it was great connecting with you guys. If you ever have questions related to health informatics, business analysis, you can always reach out to me through my WhatsApp or social media or email ID, right? So, thank you so much, everyone, and I will take a sign off now. Anything else? Any other discussions you want to have? No? Okay. Okay then. Bye bye guys. Have a good Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye guys. Bye.